Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures. Do you remember these guys? These are some of the Bushi warriors that came to us from Puppets War. Puppets War has been churning out bits and models for quite a few years now, and in the last few have moved on quite effectively, I'd say, and successfully, into the realm of 3D printing and kept a lot of the stuff that made their models really stand out. A lot of optional customizing bits, a really universal modularity between all their figures, the use of pre-made spots for magnetizing everything. But that's not actually what we're going to talk about. Maybe you remember this guy too. So Puppets War started making their own brand of funky samurai-themed, heavy armored orcs. And they've continued to put out all kinds of quirky, weird robot and mecha orcs and fun stuff like that. But recently there was a model that caught my eyes, and I had to print that when I saw that rather than having the usual, knockoff squigs, bikes, things like that, they went and made raptors. Now, you can see there, I got to clean it up a little bit. I can see some of the supports still sticking out, but they have big mechanical raptors, which I think are a great fun stand-in for your typical fast attack cavalry style orc models. And I have a feeling it's going to be quite large as well. I should say quite long. They had done a similar model of a dragon styled rider a while back. And we have his claws that don't match naturally, being an orc model. And you can see as well the rider of our orc bike raptor thingy is still got the modular nature that you can actually swap out just about any other orc bit that you have from Puppets War and it'll work perfectly. So I was all set to get this guy glued together and shown off. But then they made something even crazier, stupider, sillier, better, and way more awesome. And for their boss, they made a full-on Mecha Kaiju. Because why bother riding robotic dinosaurs when we can ride robotic Kaiju? This is a fat ride. You can see here his lower jaw. And what's kind of cool is they made two options. For the upper jaw, you can have it either open or closed. And they're both labeled O and C, obviously, for open or closed. I'm going to go with the open one just to give you a view of what to expect. And they actually have a couple of variations on the heads as well, with different lenses and parts in there. And here you can see the closed version. And I haven't made up my mind which one I want to go with yet. But as is always the case with Puppet Wars releases, both physical and 3D printed, they're really solid. Now obviously I haven't glued anything here, and we will in a sec, but you can see the part fit is nice and sturdy, thick and chunky. Oh, that's the raptor head. I was like, we never saw that, did we? Is this the front of the raptor? There we go. Kaiju arms are on a ball and socket, so you can put them wherever you'd like. And then finally we had the rider, who, just like the rider of the raptor, is totally modular with all the other parts that you may have accrued from various Puppet Wars releases or purchased. I know I have a couple of random bits here. I was going to give him a claw, and I think this is the stuff that actually came with him. I've got a couple of random heads. There's a samurai rider variation for both of these models. Just a bunch of stuff here. Give me a sec. We'll put them together and we'll see how everything turns out. So sit tight. All right, what should we start with? You know what? Here, I've got our boss orc on his Mecha Raptor all put together. This is just a fun little kit. And I'm not 100% sold still on that pose with the one leg down on the ground as he's kind of dashing forward. But that's just me. I mean, I've just got him blue tacked on there, and you can see he's got a pretty good sense of balance. Obviously, you know, I do trust Puppets War. They've been doing this kind of stuff for a while. You know, I would imagine their sculptors have a pretty good eye for that kind of detail. Yeah, I'd like a little bit more model touching the base, but it's not the end of the world. And it's a good size kit. You can see here with its Bushido armor Meganob friend. I think that's what it's called. I don't even know. But with a Marine as well. Just to give you guys a good size indicator. I don't know what you would actually use it for in a proper 40k Orc warband, but, you know, I don't remember the last time I played proper 40k anyway, so your guess is as good as mine. Some kind of bike, maybe? I mean, obviously with the handlebars and stuff, but the detail's really nice, and I'm pretty sure I had mentioned already, it's ages since I recorded the beginning part of this video, and that seems to happen quite too frequently these days, is that all those bits are also going to be compatible with all the other Orc kits that Puppets War has been putting out. And they've got some really fun stuff, I gotta admit. And I'm not the biggest Orc fan, but, you know, sometimes there's certain things that really draw me in. And I know I was looking at their new pyromaniac type guys, flamethrower, heavy flamer dudes, who are done up like Ghostbusters with proton packs of propellant and like flaming squigs that look like Slimer. I mean, I'm probably going to have to print some, and I'm probably going to have to do a video on them. It's such a fun take on the stuff, you know, and you can totally see what it's supposed to be, but also what it could be used for is always a fun touch. Now, here we've got our big chonker Mecha Kaiju. Now, I just blue tacked the head on there. I still haven't made up my mind which I'm going to go with, but you can see he's got some good presence. I don't know if he's got enough volume to, you know, count as like a dread or something. That was my first thought, or a Killacan or something along those lines. I mean, you could run him technically without the boss on top. And what's odd is I didn't print any of the samurai parts because I'd completely forgotten that, you know, they do the samurai stuff for the Orcs as well as their Marines, and I didn't bother. I don't have an answer for that. I don't know why I did that. Okay, we can get him on there. Can I see him on the screen though? So much like the Raptor Rider, there's options available as I shake the entire screen for whatever parts you want to use on top of him. But I mean, it's just a fun design. I gotta give Puppets War credit where credit's due. I didn't even really want to print any Orcs, and I saw this and I was like, geez, I've got to get this thing. And then I was thinking, you know, if we remove the pilot, and it's not as easily done with the Raptor, obviously, since you've got the legs attached there. But our Mecha Kaiju here, I mean, you could run it absolutely without the Orc on top of it. I was thinking, what a perfect model for, like, epic scale games. This is, like, such a great Orc Gargant. I mean, you could even, if you're really crazy, and I'm not, but if you were... if you wanted to magnetize that Orc boss on top of it so it just sits there whenever you need it, you know, throw some epic-sized tanks against it. You've got a great Gargant model. It's perfect. It's perfect. Here, like, even with a little tiny epic dude for scale there, it works perfectly. And I was even thinking anyways, Puppets War put out these little brain bug warrior monsters. And these things, I was thinking, oh my god, these are perfect for, like, the Doomed. I know that's, like, the new hotness now in terms of rule sets, but just for weird critters and minions. My first thought actually was using them for epic-style games, because, you know, look at these. They're, like, perfect for, you know, tangling with tanks and stuff. And I printed a whole bunch of them, in fact, but I don't know where I put them all. Anyway, if you haven't had a chance to check out Puppets War and their vast catalog of both 3D printed stuff, which I gotta say, they're really kind of finding their footing in terms of design aesthetics. So, you know, they've got the whole samurai thing down. They've got like their striker army and their knight army. I believe that's the kind of tags that they use for them. They've got all their bugs that they've been putting out. They've got crazy assortments of fun orcs. And, you know, they're all relatively decently scaled in terms of major competitors. So if that's something of concern. Plus, one of the nice things is if you have access, or if you have pre-existing collections, that's the right word. If you have a pre-existing collection of Puppets War stuff, a lot of their actual resin cast figures and parts work really great with these as well. So, fun little figures. Definitely give them a look. And there's always something crazy and fun coming out from them. And I got to give those wild guys definite props for our Mecha Kaiju friend. So if that looks like something of interest to you, absolutely click their link, take a look, and have fun. So with that said then, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye.